Our guest, David Morgan, silver-investor.com, the Morgan Report. We have Mr. Morgan on the other end of the line every week. He's happy to take your questions, and to it, send them to info@howstreet.com. Put in the slug, David Morgan. Here is the question of the week. Mr. Morgan, I read that silver was demonetized back in 1873. What does this mean? Now, if silver coins were used as money until 1964, and America's strategic silver stockpile existed until after WW2, how was it demonetized in 1873? What was the practical effect or the direct consequence if silver continued to circulate as money until 1964? Thank you. Brian Swanson.
Well, Brian, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to opt out on this answer a little bit. I think if you just take the time to go to Google and type in crime of 1873 and hit enter, you're going to get a lot of information you can read.
Let's skim here.
But just to outline it, basically what it was the Coinage Act of 1873 basically took away the bimetallic standard, which was set in place under the Coinage Act of 1792. Basically, it was a banker's coup, you might call it. That's what I'm calling it, where it made gold-only money for banking purposes. So certainly silver circulated, but they took away the prestige or the power or the purchasing power of the silver by this. And because of that, silver lost its status from that point forward. Yes, silver coinage certainly circulated, but it didn't have the power that it had before this 1873 mark. You can read up on it. I mean, that's probably as succinct as I can get it. Very interesting. From my perspective, in fact, and one more thing I'll mention, and Tom knows this already because we get a little bit of a chuckle every time we mention it, but the Wizard of Oz, certainly from my perspective, was a metaphor for what was happening during the populist movement. I'm sure you're probably familiar with Williams Jennings Bryan, that he gave his speech. He's a populist candidate for president, sticking up for the West. In other words, the farmers and the miners that were, at the time using silver, and now the silver standard is going to get crushed, and he's saying no, no, no. So the idea of the yellow brick road in the Wizard of Oz is that to follow the yellow brick road, you have to be on a gold-only standard, and, it leads to the wizard and all of that other stuff. So, again, I suggest you study it further. It's a fascinating study. I have a book on the whole subject. It's a very long book. It can take you into greater depth than what we're talking about here. Tom, I'll send her back to you and look at the next question.
By the way, folks, just how crazy is this? Dorothy's shoes, by the way, originally were not red. They were silver. And the Cowardly Lion is actually Williams Jennings Bryan. It shows you how obvious things are. We look at this since I was a kid, David. Where was I? Where were we? Wizard of Oz, OZ, ounce?
Yeah.
It's a fascinating story. Let's get back to silver and the excitement there. My gosh, we have seen quite a run, 300% up on silver now. More to the upside coming, David.